Quiet now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. You're going to dance until your feet fall off. You're not able to stand up any longer. But we're going to have a show.
Welcome to the Pink Door Podcast.
Great to be here.
We are back for another deep dive, and today we are looking very specifically at the Kingston, Massachusetts real estate market. That's zip code 02364.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a market that, everyone knows is tight. But our source material suggests some really fascinating, almost contradictory shifts were happening as 2025 closed out.
That's right. We are diving deep into the December 2025 market data, and our sources stack is extremely robust today.
What are we working with?
We pulled the latest surveys from the Multiple Listing Service, the MLS, and also the Realtors Property Resource Market Trends, which we'll just call RPR.
Okay.
And we also have detailed listings covering everything from what's active right now to what's pending, and of course, what's recently closed.
So our mission is pretty simple. We're going to try and synthesize these numbers quickly, give you a clear, high-level picture of market velocity, valuation, and really where the competition lives right now.
Exactly. It's all about translating those dense spreadsheets into actionable insights.
Okay, let's unpack this then, starting with, I guess, the biggest headline right out of the gate. Is Kingston still definitively a seller's market?
It is unequivocally a seller's market. But, and this is a big but, this is where we start seeing the critical nuances.
Okay.
If we look at the core metric that defines supply months of inventory, or MOI, it stands at a very low 1.02 for December.
1.02. So that means if no new homes came on the market, everything would be sold in just over a month.
In about 30 days. It's an incredibly tight supply. But here's the essential detail from December. That 1.02 number, it actually represents a nearly 24% increase month over month.
24%. Wow.
Yeah. So now we have to ask the question, is this a real sign that inventory is finally starting to loosen up a bit? Or is this just, a standard seasonal swing?
Where people just don't list over the holidays, right?
Exactly. And until we see that trend continue for another couple of months, we probably have to lean toward it being seasonal.
Which means we should probably look at pricing pressure. Low inventory usually means buyers are, fighting for every single listing. How close were sales getting to the asking price?
Very, very close. Buyers were paying, on average, 99.6% of the asking price.
So basically what you ask for is what you get.
Pretty much. And what's maybe more telling is that this percentage actually went up slightly, by 0.72% over the previous month. The pressure isn't easing at all.
And we see that urgency in just how fast things are moving. The median days in RPR for the properties that closed, it was a startlingly fast 7 days.
Just 1 week.
7 days, that speed tells a powerful story, doesn't it?
It does. It points to just intense velocity. It means people are likely submitting offers immediately, maybe after just one open house.
So let's talk price. What was the going rate in December?
The median sold price for residential properties in December was $729,000.
Okay.
Now, that number is a massive jump, a 10.29% increase just from November.
Whoa, a 10% jump in 1 month. That feels a little volatile. That doesn't mean my house's value jumped 10%, right?
Precisely. And that's a crucial distinction for you, the listener, to understand. The median sold price just tells us what happened to sell that month.
So a few expensive houses could have sold and skewed the number?
Exactly. It's almost certainly an anomaly driven by a few high-value sales. For a more stable measure, we look at the estimated property value.
And what does that foundational metric tell us?
That trend is much more steady. The median estimated property value for Kingston is sitting at $717,280. It saw just a modest 0.3% bump month over month.
Okay, that sounds more sustainable.
It is. And if you zoom out, we've seen a solid 2.7% appreciation over the last 12 months. So the market is fundamentally healthy, even if the monthly sold price can swing wildly.
All right, now that we've got the macro picture fast, expensive, low inventory, let's drill down into the actual closed deals.
Let's do it.
The MLS Solds report detailed 5 single-family homes that closed in December with a median time to close of just 26 days.
And what's fascinating here is how the specific examples really confirm that market segmentation we just talked about.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we saw that the average property sells at 99.6% of list, but let's look at the ones that sold over the list price. That's the real indicator of competition.
Right.
So take the Colonial at 97 Wapping Rd, lifted at $779,000, just above the median. It sold for $784,000.
Okay, so $5,000 over.
Right, and about 0.64% over asking. And the key data point, it sold in just 7 days.
perfect example of that fast market.
It is. But the truly intense competition seems to be on the smaller, more entry-level properties. Look at the cottage at 19 Holmes Avenue.
Very small place, right? 3 rooms, 1 bed.
Tiny. It was listed at $425,000. It sold for $450,000.
Wow, $25,000 over on a $400,000 house.
That is a staggering 5.88% over the asking price in just 12 days. When you see that, it confirms that high demand is hitting those entry-level properties the hardest.
But wait, if the average sales at 99.6% of lists, but we have these examples selling way over asking, how does that average balance out?
That's a brilliant question.
Yeah.
Because it forces us to look at the other side of the market, the slower segment.
Okay.
So that's how the average gets balanced out. These high-end sales take months and require negotiation.
So the takeaway for the listener is clear. Think of Kingston as 2 completely separate real estate markets operating at the same time.
Exactly. You have the fast track for mid-range properties and the slow lane for luxury homes. The market is tightest at or below that, say, $750,000 mark. Above $1 million, the velocity just drops off.
Let's transition now from what has closed to what is currently available. And that's our biggest issue, isn't it? The inventory crunch.
It really is.
One of the most shocking numbers in this whole source stack is from the MLS survey for December. It showed a total of just 3 active single-family listings in the entire zip code.
3 properties. That is an extremely thin inventory crunch. And it really reinforces why that median sold price can jump around so much.
If you don't like one of those 3, you just wait.
You have no other choice.
Mm.
And when you look at those 3 active properties, they're all skewed toward the top of the market.
No options for the average buyer.
None. The lowest active price available was $725,000. The median active price jumps up to $1,195,000, and the highest is almost $1.6 million.
So if you're looking under $700,000, which is where most people are, the cupboard is bare.
Truly bare. And we can confirm that high-end slowdown here, too. The average days on market for those 3 expensive listings is 28 days.
Compared to the 7 days for the ones that close quickly.
Exactly. It just proves the high-end moves slower and requires much more patience.
So if that's the current inventory, what does the pipeline look like? Let's look at the pending list.
The pending data, looking at the last 3 months, shows 6 properties waiting to close.
Right.
The median pending price is $689,450.
Right in that sweet spot again.
Right where the heat is.
Yeah.
And the speed correlation is undeniable. We see a property on River Street go tending in 17 days for just under $500,000.
And on the other end.
A property on Country Club Way, listed at almost $1.3 million, took 158 days to go pending.
The story is just so consistent. Mid-range is hot and fast. High-end is slow and negotiable.
Correct. But now, here's where it gets really interesting. This is where we uncover a vulnerability layer in this market that you really need to be aware of.
Okay, this is the hidden insight.
Yes. We've established demand is high, inventory is low, but the data is also showing a significant and concerning amount of distressed activity emerging in the last 3 months.
7 distressed properties. Now, that doesn't sound overwhelming on its own.
Right.
But when you look at the total supply picture, we only have 3 active listings. 7 distressed properties recorded is more than double the entire active supply.
That's the context. It suggests a serious financial strain is brewing in the background, even if the overall market looks healthy on the surface.
And where are these properties on the price spectrum?
That's the other key part. This isn't just limited to the lowest valued homes. The lowest estimated value was around $504,000, and the median estimated value was over $620,000.
So this is financial strain hitting properties squarely in that perceived mid-range. What should someone make of this?
It suggests vulnerability. For buyers, these properties could represent future inventory. For sellers, it shows that while demand is high, the financial foundation for some homeowners is cracking. It needs to be watched very, very carefully moving into the new year.
We should also just briefly touch on the lease market as a side indicator. Anything interesting there?
It's steady, mostly multifamily units. We saw 3 new properties listed for lease, ranging from about $2,000 to $2,750 a month. So rental prices are holding firm.
Okay, so if we connect all of this, the low inventory, the high speed, this emerging financial distress, what are the final implications?
It creates a really interesting tension. You have high prices and fast sales, but the emergence of these 7 distressed properties in such a tiny supply pool, it suggests a vulnerability that might surprise people in the new year.
That paints a very clear picture. Let's bring it all home with a quick synthesis of the key facts.
Okay, so Kingston remains a hyper-fast and extremely competitive market, especially for any property under, say, $750,000.
Right.
Inventory is critically low, and it's overwhelmingly skewed towards the luxury market right now. And fundamentally, property values are still on a steady upward trend despite that wild 10% swing we saw in the median sold price for December.
And here is the final provocative thought for you to consider as you look ahead to the first quarter of 2026.
The rapid sale times, that median of 7 days, paired with this emerging distressed inventory, it raises a really important question. As interest rates and economic pressures fluctuate, will this historically low supply be maintained? Or will rising financial strain actually increase the total number of listings available to buyers in Q1 and maybe, just maybe, ease some of this intense market pressure?
If you have any questions about this episode, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere on Boston's South Shore from Southie to Sagamore, give Jim Eldred a call. He would love to speak with you, and he wants to provide you with the guidance and security to help your family move on smoothly. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the next episode of the Pink Door Podcast.